An interesting situation has developed in the direction of Lyman. Russians have channeled all their supplies to the north to facilitate an advance on Nevs'ke. However, Ukrainians acted fast and now threaten to undermine the Russian breakthrough up north through an uppercut maneuver, putting the entire Russian offensive effort in jeopardy. For over 1.5 years, Russians have tried to eliminate the Ukrainian bridgehead on the eastern bank of the Jeopardy River, but with little progress and heavy losses to show for it. Now Russians are trying a new approach, taking control of the Ukrainian settlements along the river, and most importantly, their bridges. Taking control of the bridges would undermine Ukrainian logistics and slowly force Ukrainians to withdraw from their bridgehead. Recently, Russians have intensified their efforts up north in an attempt to break through and capture the Ukrainian town of Nevs'ke, which contains a bridge across the Jeopardy River. Russians understood this and immediately started moving tanks and manpower into position to counterattack the Ukrainian advance in a meeting engagement. Eventually, Russians managed to concentrate enough forces to launch a series of mechanized assaults on Ukrainian positions, using several armored personnel carriers, tanks, and even a turtle tank. Unfortunately for the Russians, as can be seen from the footage taken by the observation drone, the area was already swarming with Ukrainian kamikaze drones. Ukrainians then promptly continued to show how they completely dismantled the Russian mechanized assaults, whereafter not even the turtle tank survived. One Russian vehicle supposedly managed to break through Ukrainian lines, but was left surrounded, cut off from reinforcements, and destroyed as well. Overall, Ukrainians acted quickly and successfully fought off the Russian counterattack in front of Torska. This will allow Ukrainians to continue to pressure and threaten Russian supply lines toward the Russian effort at Nevs'ke. Although Russians did reach the settlement of Nevs'ke, Russian control here is extremely weak due to Ukrainian positions uphill and Russians now being in the lowlands. Admittedly, we have seen this before. Russians launch costly assaults to take Ukrainian positions in the lowlands, overextend their supply lines, and get slowly worn down by Ukrainians on the opposing high ground. In the coming days and weeks, we will likely see Russians taking a high number of losses to Ukrainian drone strikes, setting the stage for the counterattacks on the devastated Russian units. A Ukrainian soldier operating in the Lyman direction also stated that Russians were supporting their effort with TUS-1A thermobaric rocket artillery strikes, a powerful weapon system of which Russians only have approximately 30 units left. If we look at the topographic map, we can see that Russians have control of the high ground, while Ukrainian positions are stuck in the lowlands. Ukrainians further south are in a similar situation, with the settlements being in the lowlands. While a strong Ukrainian presence in the Serebryansky forest has allowed Ukrainians to dismantle most Russian attacks before they could ever reach Ukrainian lines. At Nevs'ke, Ukrainians don't have such an advantage, meaning that under the pressure of devastating thermobaric artillery strikes and Russians launching a mechanized assault with reportedly over 30 armored vehicles, Ukrainians were gradually forced to pull back. Interestingly enough, despite their near overwhelming advantage, Russians were unable to fully secure the settlement even after Ukrainians pulled back. Nevs'ke continues to be in the lowlands, meaning that now it is Ukrainian turn to utilize the high ground on the western bank of the river. As a Russian military blogger reported, Ukrainians conducted counterattacks halting the Russian advance, and the Russians released a brief video showing a Russian flag flying above a destroyed house in the settlement. However, this footage provides little meaningful information, as it is typical for Russians to prominently display their flag over any area they capture, whether it be a village or a simple tree line. Most importantly, in focusing their effort on Nevs'ke, a vulnerability in the Russian supply lines started to emerge further down south. Kremenna functions as the main supply base for all Russian forces in this direction, from Nevs'ke to the Serebryansky forest. This means that all Russian frontline positions in this area are fully reliant on supplies originating from the city. The intensified Russian effort at Nevs'ke has inevitably led to a weaker flow of supplies to Russian positions in the fields and in the forest. This has put certain Russian positions that were already vulnerable to Ukrainian counterattacks in a precarious position, and as Russians advanced into Nevs'ke, Ukrainians were able to retake several positions in the tree lines in front of Torska. If we look at the topographic map, we can see that Ukrainians are trying to move further along the hill. If successful, this would put Ukrainians in an extremely advantageous position, allowing them to threaten Russian advances in the north and south and Russian supply lines in the east. On the same day, Ukrainian forces have destroyed one of Russia's newest medium-range air defense systems, according to Kiev, as battles rage on in the southern Russian Kursk region, nearly 2 months after Ukraine launched its surprise incursion. Something went wrong with the Russian Buk-M3 air defense system, the Ukrainian government said in a post to X, formerly Twitter, and the Ukrainian warriors destroyed it. Kyiv shared footage appearing to show the strike on the air defense system. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, described the footage as geolocated to a site east of the Kursk city of Rylsk. While the Kursk territory currently controlled by Ukraine sits to the southeast of the settlement, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did not specify a time nor location in its brief post, but the 413th Separate Unmanned Systems Battalion, credited by Kyiv with targeting the air defense system, said in a separate post to messaging app Telegram on Monday that it had targeted a Buk-M3 surface-to-air missile system. The 413th Separate Unmanned Systems Battalion, sharing the same footage, said its forces had located the system in the southern Russian Kursk region. Ukraine has previously said the 413th is operating in Kursk. The Buk family of air defense systems are medium-range, and Russian state defense exporter, Rosoboronexport, has touted the Buk-M3 as a milestone in the development of the medium-range ADMS, air defense missile system. Designed to intercept air targets, precision-guided munitions, and tactical ballistic missiles, the Buk-M3 has a range of up to 65 kilometers, or 40 miles according to Rosoboronexport. Ukraine began its surprise incursion more than 7 weeks ago, claiming at the start of September to have captured 100 settlements and around 500 square miles of territory as Moscow attempted to fend off the advance. Ukraine largely focused on the border city of Sudzha, which it has controlled for weeks, and Koronivo to the northeast, which remains in Russia's hands. Russian and Ukrainian sources then suggested in mid-September that the Kremlin had launched a counteroffensive in Kursk, which Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky later confirmed. On the other hand, satellite photos have revealed the full extent of damage, including a large crater, to Russian ammunition depots following a Ukrainian drone strike on September 18th in Toropets, Russia. George Barros, a Russian team member at the Institute for the Study of War, posted the satellite photos provided by Maxar Technologies on X, which show before and after images of all 3 sites with the ammunition storage buildings at the Oktyabrski depot. In the attack, Ukraine reportedly used more than 100 drones to strike the military depot and destroyed North Korean missiles and air defenses, as well as Russian weapons stored in the depot. The 82-meter-wide crater at the Oktyabrski depot resulting from the strike is located where there reportedly once was a storage unit and a military bunker, according to Barros. The Institute for the Study of War expert also claimed that the pictures showed what he believes were likely missile canisters at the Oktyabrski depot. The site where the crater is located is also thought to be the location of train rail cars that Barros predicts were used to transport ammunition to other depots. In targeting one of Moscow's key military sites, an Estonian Defense Forces official claimed Ukraine likely destroyed 2 to 3 months of Russia's ammunition supply. The Ukrainian strike not only damaged the facility and destroyed Russian ammunition, but also started a fire that spread throughout the region, causing residents to evacuate, and at least 13 people were injured. Ukraine struck another ammunition depot 4 days after the drone strike in Toropets, in the Tver region, in Tikhoretsk, which reportedly had 2,000 tons of ammunition stored there. The Tikhoretsk depot reportedly had North Korean munitions stored there, and Ukraine also destroyed a radar station designed to protect it. The drone strike in Tikhoretsk also caused large fires, forcing 1,200 residents to be evacuated. Despite having multiple key military depots destroyed, Russia followed the attacks last week by advancing in the region of Donetsk near 4 key towns: Leonidivka, New York, Kryvyi Yar, and Mikhailivka. Ukraine remains under pressure in the Donetsk region, particularly near the city of Pokrovsk, as it is a transport hub close to the front lines. In addition to destroying several Russian military depots, Ukraine also advanced in the Russian territory of Kursk in early August, and since then Russian troops have reportedly not been successful in counterattacking and regaining the territory.